This one has been talked about from the beginning, and it actually came out of Deshaun Watson's mouth, which I don't know why anybody in the world would say it, but it did happen. It 100% happened. The New York Jets. My trade for this is one, Sam Darnold. Everyone saw that coming. And two, a defensive lineman, Quinnen Williams, and three first-round picks.
Man, I don't. That seems like a lot.
Well, I say that, but the thing is if Houston ends up not loving Sam Darnold, they might, want him or whatever. If they end up not loving him, they still have the second overall pick. But they can still draft a quarterback. They're not getting Trevor Lawrence going to the Jaguars. I can't see that going any other way. But there are a lot of good quarterbacks. I wouldn't say a lot, but a good handful of quarterbacks that they have to choose from. Then they basically have the first choice. The first choice other than Trevor Lawrence. I know the 3 draft picks seem like a lot because they're 3 years of first round picks, but the Jets, I think, have the most cap space for free agency. And they, like I said, they could use their first round, especially from this year, to draft something they want, or they can use it to get someone they want. And if they get rid of Quinnen Williams as well, they have to fill his spot, but they have so much money in free agency, they could get a veteran defensive lineman or something, that's more suiting for the moment. But also back to the Sam Darnold, I could see him being traded right now. I also could see him be staying put in New York as well. But the thing is about him is now this season, this offseason is a good time to get rid of him because he's played 3 or 4 years and it's time to decide if they want to give him a contract or not. And if they're not 100% sold on him, this is the perfect opportunity is to trade him for something else. So they don't have to waste their time and end up like Deshaun Watson right now. They just signed him to a 4-year deal and now he doesn't want to be there.
Wow, that's another one that that could have been speculated on, and I think Brandon Marshall is the one that said it not that long ago. It takes a special type of person to want to be in New York, and for those words to come out of Deshaun Watson's mouth saying that he wants to be there, that that rates him really high on the list of potential destinations. I don't feel like there's a whole lot more that you can go into with this one because it just seems like that it's going to be a muddy trade because it seems like no matter what the Jets do, they make a mistake. So let's move on to team number 5.
Okay. This one I think is the most ridiculous sounding one, but seems fair. The Dallas Cowboys. Dallas right now has, they still have until March 9th to deal with Dak Prescott and free agency, so they've got about a week. He's coming off a gruesome injury, and, not everybody bounces back the way you want them to from something like that. I mean, I watched his ankle twist around his leg like an owl's head. My trade for Dallas, Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, and a 2021 first round pick. Not quite as big on the number of picks, but a lot of value in the trade.
Well, listening to that right there, out of all 5 teams that we talked about, that sounds like probably one of the more even deals. You know what? I love putting you on the spot because that's what's fun to do, especially when you don't even know it's coming. I'm gonna see what you've got on your brain because then I thought that there would be one other team that would be in your 5 picks that was not there, and I want to hear what you think about speculation, especially now that there's been a little bit more rumor about it going to the Chicago Bears.
Surprisingly, that is not anything I've heard yet. I feel like Mitch and Deshaun Watson are very similar for not like the obvious, like, Deshaun Watson doesn't, turn the ball over quite as much. I don't think it's a good fit for him. The only thing they've got going for him is a good defense. It depends on what they want to do with their free agents. If, I like him being there, like keeping Allen Robinson, If they end up letting him walk on free agency because he was coming off of a franchise tag, and if they let him walk, if you don't know for a fact they're gonna fill those shoes, um, it's almost gonna be like staying in Houston. Just not having anyone to throw to.
I can see that, and that seems like that might be one that he would block. However, it seems like Chicago has the most. But at the same time, when you talk about Chicago sports, you're always talking about they always want to be linked to the big free agents because they've got their name out there tied to Russell Wilson too. I think Matt Nagy's a great coach. I think Mitch Trubisky is a good backup quarterback. I'm not a big fan of his whatsoever.
Me neither.
However, I do like their coaching staff, and I love Khalil Mack. That guy's a competitor. Uh,
I have seen a lot of trade rumors about using Khalil Mack as trade value. So, I mean, there's no even guarantee that all of those assets will be there if Deshaun Watson gets there.
Surprisingly enough, one of the teams that I haven't heard mentioned in the whole Deshaun Watson thing this year was the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm not a big Derek Carr guy. I thought that would be a very good destination for him.
Okay, so I put these five teams down as a more realistic sounding. I think that any of these five could happen, but I've been hearing, rumors are rumors. You hear it about everything, but I did not hear one about Las Vegas. But jumping over to the other side of that division, Denver.
Okay.
That this is my crazy. I really don't think it's gonna happen. They could use Drew Lock, Von Miller, and maybe other picks to get him. I think Denver should actively try to get Deshaun Watson. It may not be the most logical team to go to, and it might not be the most ideal situation, but I truly believe that Denver should fight for Deshaun Watson. But and also the Denver has a lot of offensive weapons for Deshaun Watson. So I mean, looking at the team, he's like, meh, I don't know. It isn't, but you think they have KJ Hamler, Jerry Judy, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant. Those are all solid players that he could throw a ball to. I think he would do well there.
I know that Detroit and the Rams made their deal. I got it that Carson Wentz is in Indy, but I feel like once that chip falls, I feel like you're going to see just a flood of trades during free agency. It's going to really be there. I think it's going to be more movement this year than we've ever seen before.
I think so too. I mean, I think so many teams are wrapped up in what is going to happen with Deshaun Watson and what are they going to give up for him. Say he goes to Miami. Well, then the Jets are able to make another move. They're thinking, oh well, he's coming to our division. We have to build to be prepared for that. So all these teams have division rivals that if they end up with Deshaun Watson, well now they have to have their backup plan. How are they going to build to go against that? And so I think a lot of things are going to happen, and a lot of teams have been so quiet lately because I think that is the single-handedly most important decision to happen in this offseason.
The Pro Football Focus mock draft prediction is that the trade would be that Houston trades Deshaun Watson to Denver for the ninth overall pick in a 2021 second rounder, a 2022 first rounder, a 2022 second rounder, and a 2023 first rounder with Denver. And then they go into the draft and they draft quarterback Trey Lance from North Dakota State. Now, going on further down into that article, FanDuel also is speculating that Denver is going to be the
Oh
landing
yeah,
spot.
I saw some of the sports betting. I
So,
find that really interesting how they can make money off of uh, people getting drafted.
so we went on longer than what we intended to on Deshaun Watson today, and
There's a
and
lot to talk about.
and you know what? And I bet you that within 30 minutes of research, we could have went for another hour. But in conclusion today, through the whole NFL, all the speculation about Deshaun Watson, what do you think is the most likely scenario, and how is it going to play out, and when is it going to be determined for that man to be traded? I'm putting you on the spot now.
If I had to guess, if I had to pull it out of somewhere and give you a good answer, I'm gonna stick with my gut on this one and say he ends up in Miami. Reason being is his two teams that he wants to go to is Miami or San Francisco, which is not a team we talked about. I did my research on that, and I think he would be a perfect fit over Jimmy G. I really think so. But out of everything we've talked about today, I'm gonna go with my gut and say Miami. It's gonna be the easiest trade to make. There's two friends on each team making this trade. They're like, hey, let's make a deal. Let's do it quick. Let's get it done. No ifs, ands, or buts. If I send him here, he's gonna release the no trade clause. It's gonna be quick and easy. It just makes the most sense to me. Like I said that earlier when I first started talking about Miami. I'm gonna say it again, and until he goes somewhere else and proves me otherwise, I think I'm gonna keep saying it until it happens. Like even if the trade I gave up, to Xavier Howard, 3 picks or 2 picks or however many picks, like even if that is not the exact trade, I know it's gonna be Tua, and I know it's gonna be Deshaun Watson. I really think that's going to happen.
The timing is the most important portion of that, and I feel like that as far as free agency go, this is the first chip that has to fall as far as all these teams go, because there's got to be more than 4, 5, 6 teams that are interested in this guy. Uh, I think Houston wants to keep him. I don't think Houston wants to let him go. Period. And I think that that's going to be their priority. We will find out really quick how long Houston drags this out based on if they think that they can calm him down and keep him. If not, it may happen sooner rather than later, because he just may become a problem for them, and I don't think he really wants to be. So I'm gonna say this trade happens within the next 3 weeks, and I have a feeling that it's not gonna be just a two-team trade. I got a feeling that to make this work, it's gonna take help between 3 or 4 teams to get this done. I have a feeling it'll be the biggest trade of the year. I have a feeling that it's gonna leave us talking for hours on end, whether it be on the air or off the air, and I feel like it is going to set the precedent for the rest of free agency, and you're going to see a bunch of guys that are going to express their discontent with teams because of Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, Matthew Stafford. It seems to be a growing theme in the NFL. Hey, I don't want to play here anymore. Trade me. Early in the season, A.J. Green, trade me. I know that he says that he didn't say that, but when I saw the words on his mouth, that's what the man said. And that guy is a professional. People that want out of organizations because they don't want to waste their careers being unhappy trying to win someplace they can't win. I think everything starts happening, and I think these prima donna NFL football players are all going to start complaining, and we're going to see trades galore. You're going to see people sitting out. I think it's setting a bad precedent, but I believe it's on the horizon. I believe it's coming next season. It's going to be worse. I think COVID just kind of gives people, you had people that opted out of their contracts for the season. Who the hell opts out of playing football? That is, are you really? Are you not going to take your money? Are you going to opt out because you're scared of an illness? Come on, these people that opted out, they probably need traded too. Let's just trade everybody this offseason, because I have a feeling that
If that's something you want to talk about, I do want to wait because I have a lot to say. Um,
no, no.
uh, no, I mean I have a opinion that completely disagrees to everything you just said, and good reasoning behind it.
Yeah, well, we'll have to line that up to do that next. But in conclusion, it's going to happen rather quick, because I think players' discontent with an organization can be a detriment for their future. And I think that you should move those players on, a la Matthew Stafford being I don't and you know what, his was probably the most professional deal out of the one. Carson Wentz was a little whiny, I believe, but I believe these things are going to start happening we're going to see a lot more of it. I will probably cut out some of what I just said and save it for another discussion because it seems passionate. But I'm going to call this the end of today's episode.